So many of you, like me, are parents. And if you are a parent, you may have read the chapter that I talk about how important it is to set boundaries around our families. And I think something that we don't often talk about, especially prudent and especially appropriate with working parents, parents that work outside the home or parents that work inside the home, is how to set boundaries with our kids and why we need boundaries with our kids. Now, I can tell you that I came from my family. My mother stayed home and she did pretty much everything for us kids. My dad traveled for his job and was gone most of the week. And my mom did it all. She was at everything. She made all of our food. She drove us everywhere. She was just the super mom. And she modeled that for me. And so when I became a parent and then I became a physician who had a job outside of the work of my home, I really struggled because I felt constantly like a failure because who I was comparing myself to was my mother, who stayed at home, didn't work outside of the house, and just was there for all of us and all the neighbor kids. Seriously, she was an amazing mom and just worked nonstop. So I couldn't keep up with that because I was, in a very busy clinical role and working all the time and just could not keep up. And I constantly had guilt and I constantly felt bad. And because of that guilt, what it transferred to my kids was I'm just not going to say no to them. Like if they want me to do this, even if I've been up for 26, 28, 32 hours, I'm going to go. They want me to take them to the movies, I'm going to go. If they ask me to go outside and do that, play in the sprinkler, I'm going to do it because I'm a bad mom because I work all the time. So I have to. This is the narrative that I told myself. And I had very little boundaries with my kids. And I felt like I was constantly behind in getting their love and approval. And if I just did everything they asked of me, then they would love me more and I would be a better mom. And then I burned out in 2013, as many of you know, and have read in my first book, Between Grit and Grace. And I realized, oh gosh, that is not the way to mother. That is not the way to parent. That my kids actually want me to be well rested. They want me to be well. They want me to have hobbies and they want me to be healthy. They want a mother who shows up and is not just doing everything they want, but that is engaged. And this is what is so important, demonstrates boundaries for them. Because I have 4 kids, I love them. I want them to have mental health and well-being more than anything in the world. I want them to be mentally and physically well. Isn't that what we want for all of our kids? I want to demonstrate to them it's okay to have boundaries. So when my daughter says, when we're all going to dinner on a Friday night, and my daughter says, I don't want to go to dinner, I'm exhausted, I'm going to stay home and read or hang out or paint my nails or whatever she does on Snapchat with her friends, and they're going to, do some nail thing or facial online or something. I don't say, oh no, you have to come, we want you to come. I say, okay, we'll bring you some pizza, because I want her to feel comfortable setting boundaries like she's watched me set boundaries. When my oldest son says, I don't really want to go on that vacation, or I don't really want to do that thing because I'm just exhausted and tired from work and school, I say, okay, that sounds good. I want my kids to have boundaries. Boundaries allow us to stay well, and boundaries allow us to stay healthy. And so I want to demonstrate that. One of the biggest ways that I have taught my kids boundaries is it started with a little area in my bedroom that I kind of marked off as mine. And I taught my kids, like, when I'm sitting here, do not approach. Unless someone's dying or bleeding or hemorrhaging, don't approach, because this is my little area. And this means I need some me time and downtime. And you know what? I thought they'd be mad at me. They're not. I thought they'd think I was a mean mom. They didn't. They got it. They were like, oh, mom's sitting on her special couch. Don't talk to mom. She's having a moment. So we have to give our kids more credit. They're extremely smart. They're very flexible. They can just go with the flow. and they need boundaries themselves. And the way that you teach your kids boundaries is you have them for you. You teach them it's okay to say no to things. You teach them it's okay to choose their wellness over being liked. You teach them it's all right to say, I'm not feeling great. I'm not going to go out and do that thing tonight. You teach them this and they get it and they will stay well themselves. If you're loving this series, stay tuned. I have lots more teaching, and I hope that you are subscribing and sharing with your friends, and make sure you belong to my email list at becomebraveenough.com.